Alright, so buying a house is on everyone's wish list and people toil hard day in, day out to realize that dream. Now, when it comes to buying a house, one has to do meticulous research and planning, plus you also have to make crucial decisions such as should you buy a house or rent one, should you opt for building your house or go for a ready-made apartment. All of this can clutter your decision making. So today on the 80 Money Show, we will help you plan to buy a house. Let's bring on board Hemant AR, AVP Communication, bankbazaar.com, and Anant Ladha, founder, Invest Aaj For Kal. Good evening, both of you all. And let me start with Anant because Anant, you, I'm sure, have a lot of clients who come up to you saying the important financial goal that they have in their life is to have a house of their own. Although we know the kind of scenario we are into right now where we are seeing the interest rates going up, also it's very important for an individual to understand what kind of a house they want to buy. Today we are not just going to talk about the process of buying a house in the interest rate scenario and how to calculate your EMIs, but we are also going to talk about how should one consider buying a house, what kind of property one should be buying. So is it advisable first of all to buy a house or to rent, because this is an ongoing debate forever? Anant.
Hi, firstly, good evening, and thank you so much for having me on the show. See, if we talk about real estate as an asset class, it has underperformed for more than 10 to 15 years, rather 13 years it has underperformed. And whenever an asset class underperforms for such a long period of time, it becomes attractive by default. Now, if you now next question is, should you buy a property or take it on rent? Answer is very simple, completely depend upon your situation. Suppose if you have a corpus and you are planning to buy a house, I think it's absolutely okay and you can go ahead with it. But if you don't have house and you're already having a lot of debt and now you are planning to take more debt just to buy a house, then probably you can postpone it and properly plan it. My simple formula is, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So better is to always plan for a goal and then execute it. And a house, I am of an opinion that is always useful, and some investment in real estate is always welcome. I have three major reasons for that as well. Firstly, any loan which you take for your home is deductible. You get deduction in section 80C and even interest deduction in section 24. So it is deductible. Second point is, by default, whenever you invest in property as an asset class, you are a long-term investor. You don't go out and check your property prices every day or every second day. But when you invest in equities or mutual fund, because of ease of execution, probably you check your price every day. And there is some chances that you can make some emotional mistake. And finally, we are Indians. As an Indian, buying a home is personal satisfaction. It's a aspirational thing which has been taught to us from childhood. So it's absolutely okay to do some stuff for your aspirational thing as well.
Hemant, what do you have to say on this? What's your take?
So good evening, Kavita. Good evening, Anant, and good evening to your viewers. I absolutely agree with what Anant just said. In fact, what he has said is also reflected in the customer research surveys that we have done in the past. Basically, two goals keep coming out on top year after year, which is people want to educate their children and people want to buy a house for themselves. This is consistent year after year. So the advice that we tend to provide, looking at whatever is going on in the market, whatever is going on with the real estate prices, we say that the best use of your house is going to be self-occupation. You may not be better off using a real estate investment for rental yield or capital appreciation. I think the stock markets tend to do better in that regard. So if you're going to buy a house, it's best that you buy it for self-occupation and a plan to buy it in such a way that you are able to occupy that house for the long term, because that's when you will get maximum value, not just a financial value, but emotional value out of it as well, Kavita.
All right, now let's help people buy their dream house. Now, what happens is, Anant, we know that you need a longer term plan for this, right? You should know what you're getting into. You should really have your finances in place, and also the kind of money you need to run your house. Then there needs to be a proper balance. But given the times we are into, where people also want to experiment with their real estate purchase, it's not like people really prefer buying a ready-made house. The trend also says that people believe in constructing or maybe have a second home which they want to use it later on in the later years of their life. So there's a breaking news where I need to actually shift now. So Anant, I was actually asking you in what way one should be investing in real estate. Do you think constructing a house makes sense, or do you think that one can just buy a land and then later on plan for making a house later on when you are sound financially? How can one have a dream house, in what form, given the current scenario in mind?
The answer will completely depend on, will be completely personalized according to the
Right.
situation which a investor is having. But I'll try and jot down some of the important points which you can consider. Firstly, if both husband and wife are working, that both couple are working, and both of them don't have much time to devote for building a house, it is always better to buy a ready-made house, because building a house will require a lot of efforts. I know it is very satisfying. We are also planning to build a new home, and I know how excited we are to make sure that everything is in place, and whatever we have in mind, we try and execute it. I know it is very satisfying, but if both the couple or you don't have someone to take care of that building, or to take care of the construction process, it is always better to buy a ready-made one. But instead of it, suppose if you are a business person and you are working, and your wife is a homemaker and she can devote some time towards building of your home, I think building a home is also a great choice. More important is to properly plan for it. Suppose you want to buy a house which is worth 1 crore, and if you start investing from today, maybe in next 20 years, or maybe in next 15 years, if you're investing 20,000 rupees per month at a expected rate of return of 12%, you can make 1 crore very easily. So instead of making a decision in hurry, you can properly plan it. Suppose you are investing, you are an aggressive investor and you are investing in some risky asset class as well, and your expected rate of return is 15%. So just 15,000 rupees SIP for 15 years will give you 1 crore rupees at the end of 15 years. So my only thing is, you can properly plan for it and make a proper goal and then execute it.
Hemant, what do you think? What should be done?
So whether you want to construct a house, or you want to buy a property being constructed, or you want to buy a property that is already constructed, all of these boil down to personal choices and personal circumstances. Obviously, if you have the financial capacity to buy land and be able to construct property on that, nothing like it. I think there's a lot of emotional appeal in that as well. Most people find that very attractive. However, you have to be in charge of that whole process, right from the architecture to the nuts and bolts of that project. It is time consuming, it is emotionally draining, it is financially obviously straining as well. On the other hand, what we see is that most people do not have the financial capacity to buy land in city areas, in urban areas, and be able to construct houses for themselves. Obviously, they prefer apartments, which are in abundant supply right now. And I think that is where a vast majority of people would gravitate towards. With the kind of financing that is available today, you should be able to finance an apartment or any construction or any house, basically, if you are able to front up about 30 to 40% of the value of the property that you're looking to buy. So if you have the individual readiness, you have the credit readiness, you should be able to buy whichever property that you are interested in. Kavita?
All right. Anant, now you being a financial planner, let's assume both the scenarios. We almost know the kind of drill that goes into buying a property, as in buying a house, or a ready-made house maybe. But then what could be the drill if you want to get it constructed? What all needs to be planned?
The planning part start from getting approval of your map, that it is properly authorized and it is properly approved. Never go for any extra construction or try and find loophole in the system, because eventually, if something happened even 10 years down the line, you will be responsible. So from initial part, you have to make sure that your map is properly approved according to government guidelines. You are living proper setback. you are following proper guidelines, be it regarding some water, or maybe off lately in a lot of states, boring has been banned. So you should make sure that you are properly taking care of all the guidelines. Once your map is ready, you have to finalize the person or the contractor who will be building the complete home for you. You need to make sure that quality of material which is used is proper. Plus, there at times there are variation between the committed part versus what is actually available on the site. So you need to regularly check it. You need to hire an external manager who is managing construction, and who is managing that everything which is committed to you is actually happening on the site. Next is major part is the interior thing. If you want to do an interior, you can spend 4,000 rupees per square foot also, and you can spend for 40,000 square feet as well. So you need to properly budget it. What is your budget? You need to ensure that you are not surpassing it, and then plan accordingly. At times you can buy some stuff from outside India as well, because there is some price efficiency as well. So you need to properly plan it up and ensure that you are not overspending on interiors. Whatever cases I have personally seen at my clients front, usually the construction part is properly done according to the plan, but when it comes to interior, more or less everyone end up spending more. So you need to properly budget it and execute it.
How easy the financing part, Hemant, if one needs to construct?
Sorry, can you please repeat that?
How easy the financing part is if at all one plans to construct a dream house?
Right. So this all boils down to individual readiness, right?
Right.
The amount of credit that you are able to get for your house construction or house purchase depends on factors such as your income, your source of income, your credit score. And what we are seeing is that a credit score over 750 tends to get you the best housing financing deals. There are other minor factors that play a hand in getting your finances. So for example, if you are a woman, you should be able to get a lower rate of interest. If you are refinancing a loan, you should be able to get a lower rate of interest. If you work for the government, special categories of people, the government employees or blue chip corporate employees, army personnel, these people are able to get a slightly lower rate of financing. So it makes it easier for them to avail home financing for themselves. So in summary, basically, the loan should be able to cover about 75-80% of the home purchase, but the other 20-25% that needs to come out of your pocket. Now, I'm talking about the basic price of the house. There could be other costs as well that you need to budget for. So, for example, like Anant pointed out, furnishing. Furnishing could easily go up to 10% of the price of your house. There could be the cost of amenities. There could be costs of sinking fund, maintenance fund. If you're buying an apartment, there could be cost of amenities or parking charges or clubhouse charges. All of those things add up. Most of that should be covered by the loan, but the rest, the part that is not covered by the loan, and we feel that typically this tends to be about 30 to 40% of the price. That needs to come out of your pocket. It could either you either need to pay that upfront or step by step. If it's an under construction property, you need to pay this amount in tranches along with the home financing. Kavita.
Right. So buying a house is definitely not an easy thing to do, and if at all it's your dream house that you want to construct, there's a lot more planning that gets into. Thank you so much, both of you, for being a part of the show and helping our viewers with this very important financial goal. With that, we'll slip into a short break, but then post that, let's analyze how can you have a stock and a mutual fund portfolio together.